Hello and welcome. My name's Geraint John and this is episode 9, series 2 of the Voice for Voice podcast, recorded exclusively in Brixton, South East London. It's April and we will be chatting about what's going on in the voice world today. Hello.
Hello.
Will, how are you?
I'm okay.
Okay. Is better than not being okay.
Exactly.
And I'm going to do something that I've always wanted to do. This podcast is brought to you exclusively by Customized.
Who are Customized?
Right. So if you've got headaches with Wi-Fi, arguments about energy bills,
Always.
if you've got that, or concerns about your home security, call in Customized to install the latest home tech to relieve those pain points. So these guys are amazing. I follow them on Instagram. I've used them for stuff in my house, and I love the way that they market themselves. They're all over kind of Instagram stories. They always watch us when we do Instagram Live, and I just think they're really amazing. So they're this week's sponsor. So they offer a free survey. So a fixed price installation and same week service for some of the most popular smart homes devices.
Wow.
So basically what they do is they make your home smart.
So if you're not particularly tech savvy and just don't want the headache,
And you've got money.
but you want the awesome smart home, Alexa, turn the lights off, Google, turn on the heating.
Yeah, because
They'll just come and do it all for you.
No, exactly. So they come and do it. They travel around. It just looks like a lot of fun what they do.
Great idea.
They work their asses off as well. You can tell, and just much respect, guys. So you need to ask them about their all setup services of thermostats, wireless speakers, doorbells, cameras, and other app and voice controlled
And
tech.
where would you find them?
Well, you need to follow them on Instagram, Customized1. The URL is customized.uk.com. They've got an amazing website. It's really lovely, and I think they're going to do really well. And I'm chatting to them about some voice ideas that we've got for them as well. And they service the services available through the east of England and London. So go follow them, Customized1, and don't forget to quote the Voice for Voice podcast if you make an inquiry with them.
Cool.
Done. So, what's going on in the world of voice?
We have a action-packed special today.
Yeah.
So interactive voice ads. Last episode we talked about Fortnite. There was a cheeky Fortnite ad. There was a lot of discussion about whether or not it was an ad. I think we came to the conclusion that it probably was. But these guys are changing the game. It's a company called InStream. InStream?
What are they called? InStream.
InStream.
Okay.
Instrumatic.
Right. Okay. You all right? So Will's not very well. So that's basically long short of it.
Sorry about my
incompetence. Let's speed it up.
But they're basically trying in the system where, so when you get podcast ads such as that, it's almost like a monologue from the brand. There's no, you can't click through to the website. So the idea is that you could respond via voice to the ad, but we'll be talking about it in more detail in a sec.
So basically like a podcast ad.
Yeah, but you can then answer it and then go to their website via without having to then go to a screen.
No, I know, I get that. That's amazing.
We'll be talking about BBC, so they've actually blocked Google Assistant from accessing its podcasts.
Yeah, I saw that.
So there's a wider story here about Google's plan to increase podcast listenership by making them discoverable in search, making them accessible via Google Assistant. But BBC have withdrawn from that. So you can no longer get BBC podcasts on Google Assistant.
No. Well, they want to push you to sounds, don't they? That's what
so we'll be discussing why that is. And then talking, I guess, a bit about the future of podcasts and voice in general. Walmart. So obviously the biggest supermarket chain in the US.
Why aren't Walmart in the UK?
That's a good question. Maybe they are just under a different name.
Well, they're obviously listening to this show, so why? Come on, guys.
Maybe they just hadn't thought of it. Until
Well, there's an idea. I've got an idea, guys. An expansion idea.
Yeah.
What? Come to the UK.
Done.
There's loads of people. Everyone eats as well, and
Captain
I
market.
reckon, yeah, you could just set up here. There's other, you know.
What supermarket do you go to?
Marks and Spencer's. Marks and Spencer's. I spent a lot of time in Marks and Spencer's. And yeah, Sainsbury's. I've got a big Sainsbury's close to my house
that one as well.
in South East. Oh, fuck it. I tell you what, if I was doing my shopping and I bumped into you,
All right.
oh
See you
God,
now.
as if I haven't seen enough of this guy all week. I'm doing my shopping and then pops Will.
Don't worry, I won't. I'll just walk on by.
Yeah, I've got my big shopping trolley full. You've just got your little basket with just a loaf of bread and an apple. All right, well, I'll just... It's not true, really, is it, actually?
No,
it's not, no. But should we move on from that?
Yeah, so our skill of the week is actually a Google action. So I don't know, we've named this incorrectly. We haven't really thought about this.
It's a
Google, so I mean...
It's called
we'll call it
Finley
action of
AI.
the week, or should we call them voice app of the week?
Voice app of the week.
Doesn't sound very good.
It doesn't know, but it's a good
Action of the week.
It's a good little it's a good little action.
What is it?
It's like of their financial services, financial advisor company, and you can we'll chat. We'll test it.
We will. So yeah, lots of. Should we test the action then? Go straight in.
Let's go straight in. Well, let's just do this.
Finance isn't something which really ignites my soul, but I guess it's something which I should start to think about.
Well, as you're getting a little bit more...
getting a little bit, you know...
Well, right.
Getting to that age. My flatmate was talking about ISIS yesterday.
Here's Finley AI.
Hello, my name is Finley. I am your financial helper. Do you want to ask me your own financial or pension questions, or do you want to plan with me?
Financial questions.
It's not a very good UX.
Perfect, I can help you with that.
He sounds like a
I can't
finance
give
guy.
personal advice, but I can help answer basic financial and pension questions. What would you like to know? You can ask me things like, how do pensions work? What are the best ways to save, or what is the best way to pay off debt? Or you can ask me something else. What do you want to ask me?
What is the best way to pay off debt?
Here are some top tips to pay off your loan, mortgage, or credit card debt. Create a budget. Pay off the most expensive debt first. Pay more than the minimum balance. Don't add to your debt or credit card spending. Try and get more overtime or any commission or bonuses you receive and put it towards your debt. Use a strategy called the debt snowball effect, where you pay off your debts in order from the smallest balance to the largest. Sell unwanted gifts, clothing, or household items and use the extra money to reduce your debt. Change your spending habits, like what you spend, where you spend, and how you spend. There are other strategies, but this is a good starting point. If things are really difficult and you are struggling, you can look at discussing a debt management plan with your creditors to see if it is right for you. What else would you like to know?
Nothing.
Nothing. Please
He
kill
just
it.
bored the shit out of me, Finley.
Can you say it again?
No.
Please rephrase the
Oh,
question. I
Finley,
can only
stop
discuss
it.
basic areas
Alright,
around
okay.
pensions and general.
Shut him down.
Right,
I
go
do
on.
apologise that you had to sit through that. That was
And you came up with it as well.
absolutely awful. I know that was a poorly researched skill of the week.
So just think, there's people all over the world now listening to this. There's thousands of people in the States listening, and you made them listen to
I
that
know.
shit.
It was just a verbal diarrhea. It was just he was just saying things about debt. That's not helpful to anyone. Imagine if you were really struggling with debt and you heard that.
Well, if you're struggling with debt, you're not going to use your Google Assistant to get tips, are you? I wonder
Especially not after that.
But I wonder. I always feel really bad because, if in case they listen to this,
I
and they just hear us laughing.
They need to know. Yeah.
Do you think so? So what would you do if they rang up? Hi, hello, Move. How can I help you? Hi, it's Stephen here from Finley AI. Can I speak to Will Bradley, please? How would you justify it?
I would say I give a fair analysis of every skill we review. You clearly took shortcuts, didn't do this properly, and it shows. Sorry, Finlay.
But haven't we reviewed worse things than that?
I can't think of any. Off the top
Oh,
of my
right,
head.
okay.
I mean, we have reviewed a couple of shockers, but I mean, that was really up there.
Yeah, come on, we're trying to push the voice word
Yeah,
forwards,
I know,
guys.
I know.
We're relying on you to build good stuff, you know? Anyway.
Anywho. After that.
Interactive voice ads.
Interesting start. Interactive voice
So what's
ads.
going on? What's going on with this?
Podcast advertising is obviously something which has really taken off recently.
Yeah.
A very powerful medium for brand awareness, to get to basically connect with a very dedicated group of listeners. But what the problem is that there's not like a Facebook ad. You can then click onto the ad. So, but with a podcast ad, because it's a monologue essentially from the brand to the consumer, there's no engagement. So you would then have to pick up your phone, type in a URL, or do it. So it basically creates friction.
Okay, so let's use the customized one as an example.
Yeah.
So the one that I just did, so I picked them up. I believe in it. I really like them. Perfect business to advertise on the pod.
Exactly.
Pod,
So
you know,
at
pay
the
me a
end of that-
fortune as well, which helps. You know, hence the big shopping trolley. And that's not true. How would it work?
So at the end of that, at the end of the recording, you would say blah blah blah, customized, fits your smart home, and then it would say something like,
For
"Would you
more
like to
information.
find out more?" And then
You'd say yes.
You say yes, and then it would take you through to
The website.
Their website.
And then when on your Google Analytics, then it would say traffic source.
exactly,
voice.
yeah. And then
So there's
if you're
your
using a
ROI.
screenless device, it could then send you a link to your Google Assistant app, or you could basically have more engagement, frictionless engagement on a audio ad, which solves a age-old problem.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, you know, for stuff like the Joe Rogan podcast, you're never going to get on there, but like, you know, there's mechanisms, isn't there, through podcast advertising networks, just to get your stuff. And I guess a bit like a Google ad, it would, you would just enable the, you know, the find out more functionality.
Yeah. So
what
I
are
think
people
that
saying about this then?
So it's in trial mode at the moment, but I think it's going to be big. So the other kind of examples would be your voice device could just say, "Hey, do you know who makes the best pizza in town?" And then you say, "Oh, I don't know, tell me." And they'll say, "Oh, it's Andy's Pizza on Vauxhall Bridge. You can check it out and get this deal." So it's paving the way for conversational advertising, which is a completely new field.
But isn't saying who makes the big... I see.
So it's a bit like chatbot marketing, but much more powerful because you're actually using your voice.
Yeah. Well, I think, certainly the larger agencies around the world are looking for something that they can measure, and this could be it.
Exactly.
This could be it. So they'll be going to their clients and saying, "Hey, do you fancy trying some of this?"
Yeah.
Voice-enabled advertising.
So I think the dream of voice devices being somehow ad-free, as Amazon, Google claim, is just... It's obviously never going to be true. I don't see why they would be excluded from the ad machines.
They're probably going to
big
change
tech.
that.
But I think we're starting to see evidence that it will. And actually, another ad-related story about BMW. So flash briefings we have been known to have ads on, but this kind of takes it a step further. So for a brief period in France, if you asked Alexa or Google, "What's the news?" BMW had a 15-second recording saying, "You have just requested your news. Did you know that with the BMW Intelligent Personal Assistant, you could request it in the same way while in your BMW 3 Series?"
Wow, mofos. So they're just blatantly plugging the BMW 3 Series.
Yeah.
I wonder how much the BMW guys had to pay for that. I'd love to know.
Interesting to know.
Hundreds
Maybe
of
it was
thousands.
part of the deal because they've. It's interesting how BMW are now pinning their advertising around voice assistants. So we saw it in the Super Bowl. The kind of main advertising point is now that you've got Alexa in your car.
Maybe that they've worked out that BMW drivers are the most likely, I don't know.
What, to use voice assistants?
Yeah, I don't know why, but because the
There's definitely
BMW
something in
drivers...
that. You can imagine
BMW driver.
slightly obnoxious guy shouting Alexa in his Beamer while cutting you off.
What's
you
your
have a BMW,
favourite?
don't you?
No, I don't have, no, never had a BMW.
Oh,
Audi.
you did Audi.
What do you drive?
Just VW. Why is that funny?
It's just you and driving. So yeah, I think the Mercedes, Audi, and BMW and voice kind of goes, doesn't it? Really, it feels right. Feels right. But also the kind of first time cars as well. You know, with like an 18-year-old, because it used to be Bluetooth for me. I wanted when I had I bought my first decent car. When I was going around looking at them, I just wanted it to have Bluetooth because I could then connect my Spotify and my phone. And this, I guess, the same now is you want Alexa in it.
Prediction.
Yeah.
Cars will overtake the home as the biggest space for voice assistants.
Well, that's what happened with Spotify.
Is it?
Yeah. So Spotify's users increased dramatically because as soon as Bluetooth became available in cars, everyone was connecting their Bluetooth to Spotify. So you then had your jukebox, something that was never possible before. If you think about it, you're driving around, if you've got radio or you've got a CD, all of a sudden you just play this amazing playlist
you're
on.
Talking to your car.
Yeah, amazing. We're kind of we lost a bit of tracking there, didn't we? But I think so I mean that it's interesting because that's the Fortnite story, kind of similar as well.
Yeah.
But they can't.
They're just waiting.
They can't deny though that that's an advert. Are they denying that that's an advert?
No.
Because they denied that the Fortnite one was an advert.
So that counts as their like third party Alexa stuff. So they've kind of admitted, like, people openly have ads on flash briefings at the moment, but they differentiate that the Alexa platform.
Speaking about flash briefings, I met up with a rapper called Zuby last week. Did any of you see Joe Rogan spoke about him on his podcast, that he broke the women's deadlift record by identifying as a woman.
Yeah.
So I met up with him. It's amazing, and he's got his own podcast. So yeah, you should check out Zuby.
What's his podcast called?
I don't know what his podcast is called, but I've listened to his podcast, and he's kind of like just a really, really, how would I describe Zuby? So he's a rapper. He's a very nice man. That's what I thought straight away. I thought you're
he's
a nice
an Oxford graduate.
Yeah, he's bright. He's nice. He's a rapper. He's really into fitness, and he gives really good advice on Twitter. So he say, and it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I really like it when people use social for the good, for like actually trying to help you. So he's saying for happiness, all you need to do is lift weights 3 times a week. Don't drink alcohol, get plenty of sleep, and blah, 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 blah. It's quite simplistic. And actually, if you followed that advice and didn't go for beers after work like me and you do, then you're going to be happy. But I like going for a beer after work with you, Will.
Yeah.
I like it.
Going for a beer.
You do, yeah. So Zuby, and he said I could say this. We're gonna be helping him build a flash briefing. So every day, Zuby gives you amazing tips and advice.
That'd be great.
Yeah, no, really good.
That. The Zuby flash briefing.
Exactly, coming soon. So what else are we chatting about, Will?
We were going to talk about John Legend's new voice on Google Assistant.
But we couldn't get it working.
But once again, the US have excluded us Brits from the good stuff.
Is it good though?
Get this. I mean, I'd quite like John Legend to speak to me as Google Assistant.
Really?
Yeah.
Why on earth would you want that?
It's just he's got a good voice.
What?
Why wouldn't you want that?
It's pathetic that you even think this.
Wow.
Well, that's just.
What have you got against John Legend?
Well, I don't like him.
Why not?
I just don't like his music or him. So
Why?
therefore, I'd rather listen to a robot than him.
Right. Okay. No,
And I think, quite frankly, that a man,
you hate John Legend,
a 26-year-old man, however old you are, actually openly admitting on a podcast, which is listened to by thousands of people across the world, that you are a John Legend fan.
I think you've just got a strange vendetta against him. I don't know what he's done to you, but let's just move on.
So we're talking about BBC blocking Google Assistant from accessing its podcast. What's all that about?
So Google have this grand plan to double podcast listenership. So it's actually very interesting. So something like 80% of podcasts are listened to on iTunes or something. But actually, the percentage of people around the world who have iTunes is very small. So you've got this incredible market of Android users who basically aren't really listening to podcasts. So they created Google Podcasts, which is available on Android. And now what they're doing is they're making podcasts a first-class citizen on search engines. So if you're searching for information about Kylie Jenner, for example, if you search Kylie Jenner, now what you might see is like a podcast about, like Kylie Jenner's podcast might be the first.
So let's do
first result.
So let's do a test. And so who's got a podcast? He's
Joe Rogan, maybe.
God, he gets a lot of mentions in this show.
I know.
Joe Rogan. Do you listen to Joe Rogan?
I've listened to a couple. Yeah,
I really like
the Elon Musk one was.
Yeah, well, the podcast site is number one.
Yeah.
No, nothing yet.
Yeah. So anyway, the idea is that basically they're going to make podcasts much more discoverable. And as part of that, you can access them via your Google Assistant, and that you can sync your accounts. So a bit like Netflix, if you're watching something on your phone and then you come back to your TV, it will pause and resume where you left off. So if you're coming back from work, you're listening to a podcast on your headphones, and then you can then pick it up on your Google Home when you're cooking something later. But Google have now blocked all of their podcasts from appearing on Google Assistant and Google Search as well.
No, BBC have blocked them.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a clear strategy for the BBC to drive people to its BBC Sounds app. I think.
Yeah, I think. Well, that's not what they're admitting, but that is basically, I think, what's happening.
Yeah, because they, and they're two kind of like Google and the BBC are two companies that they're not meant to get on, are they?
Google's very much about open information for free, but BBC is to an extent. I mean, they said they don't want to limit discoverability of their podcasts.
No, Google's all about making shed loads of money through advertising.
That's true. Yeah.
Do you know what the average salary of somebody who works in Google is?
100 grand.
270 grand. Average
Really?
Salary.
I heard it was 100, but
no, there was something released recently,
Really?
like yesterday. So it's 200. It's a lot of money.
yeah.
Isn't it?
Well, they made $120 billion.
Is it just the fact that the people who work there are so bright?
Yeah, they've got the best.
Yeah. So okay, well, not the same recruitment problems as we've had recently.
No.
Then, so.
No. But yeah, so when are we going to see the BBC Sounds skill is what I'm wondering.
I don't know.
If they're blocking...
Because I someone from the BBC listens to this podcast, actually,
Yeah.
and he's in charge of Alexa, radio and turning radio and into
So there
voice.
definitely should be... I mean,
Find out
that
from
must
him.
be what's in the pipeline.
Yeah, I think so.
If they're blocking Google Assistant from accessing, it must be...
Well, my interpretation is that they didn't get iPlayer quite right to start with, and I think with voice they just want to get it totally nailed down. So that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, I would definitely open a BBC Sounds skill to listen to all the latest content.
Oh man, yeah, totally.
Be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be really good. Yeah, it'd be really good. Well, it's all going to change, isn't it? It's all the indications are there because like, even the podcast departments in the BBC are just massive now. It's just a huge area.
Yeah.
They recognise now that it's a new way of interacting with influencers, getting information.
Absolutely.
Cool. So we're going to do...
We're going to do our head-to-head.
Okay. All right.
I have been feeling a bit under the weather recently, so I
Yeah.
want Google and Amazon to tell me what to do.
Okay. Do the one that starts with A
Sorry,
first.
I don't understand.
Alexa, how do I treat a cold?
According to the NHS website, to help
Okay.
you get better more quickly from a cold, rest and sleep, keep warm, drink plenty of water, and gargle salt water to soothe a sore throat. You can buy cough and cold medicines from pharmacies or supermarkets. A pharmacist can advise you on the best medicine.
Great.
Interesting that they pulled information from the NHS website.
But is that probably what's number one on Bing?
Yeah.
Should I check?
I wonder if that's their information. Yeah. Or maybe they just do that because from a legal standpoint, it's better to give
someone working in
third-party
Bing. I've just
advice.
gone on Bing.com. Someone in Bing, the office. Hey, we've got someone on the site. We've got someone on. He's in London. He's typing it in. Oh my God, what's he typing in? He's typing in. What did you say? What was the question?
How do I treat a cold? Gosh, Bing.
Bing.
Does it pull information from NHS?
NHS is the first relevant one, yeah.
Okay.
So that's what it is. So you can ask the one that starts with G.
Hey Google, how do I treat a cold?
Here's a summary from the website mayoclinic.org. Advertisement. 1. Stay hydrated. 2. Rest. Your body needs to heal. 3. Soothe a sore throat. 4. Combat stuffiness. 5. Relieve pain. 6. Sip warm liquids. 7. Add moisture to the air. And 8. Try over-the-counter cold and cough medications. To read more, look for the link in your Google Home app.
I like the link for extra info. The Mayo Clinic have a skill, don't they? I think we talked about
Yeah,
it
they do.
ages
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah. I've changed
are
the
they?
settings on Google Assistant to some reason to have an American voice. I often do that. See, that's what I do. Just for fun. Just
Fun, yeah.
Just
Keep yourself
change. I wonder
amused.
what it'll sound like with an Australian accent.
I've got Siri as an Australian.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. It seems
Cracks
to
me up.
work. It does. Well, it cracks you up.
Yeah, it's just good fun.
Right. Well, that brings
Okay.
to a close another episode of the Voice of Voice podcast. Thank you very much. We've really enjoyed having you here, and we'll be back same time next week. Do us a favour. Leave us a review as well. We'd like that. So go
Yeah,
to the
that'd be
iTunes
great.
and just give us 5-star. And yeah, we'll see you same time next week. And look after yourselves. And thank you again for listening.